Yo, welcome back to Eat, Sleep, Breathe, Hoops with your boy, Nikki P. You know who it is, you know what it is. Let's get it. Thanks for all the subscribers. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for liking. Keep sharing with your fellow hoop heads, man, and let's grow this community. So y'all saw what it is today. Yo, check it out. Imagine if you saved up for months. You bought plane tickets, booked a hotel, and spent hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars on tickets to see your favorite basketball team. The day arrives, you file into the arena, the lights dim, the starting lineups are announced, and the superstar, the very reason you came, is in a suit on the bench, not injured, just resting. Low management. That feeling of disappointment, that sense of a broken promise between the league and its fans is at the heart of a crisis facing the modern NBA. Today we're going to talk about the epidemic of load management, where it came from, the profound negative impact it's having on the game, and what we can do to restore the competitive fire that once defined this great league. It's impossible to discuss this topic without starting at the beginning, in San Antonio with the legendary Greg Popovich. In the early 2000s, Popovich, a coach known as much for his intellect as his temperament, began a strategic experiment. He saw his aging stars like Tim Duncan, not as machines, but as high-performance vehicles that needed periodic tune-ups. The goal wasn't to avoid the regular season, but to conquer the playoffs. Popovich's philosophy was rooted in data and a deep understanding of the wear and tear on an 82-game season and what it inflicts on the human body. He would strategically rest his veteran core, often during high-profile, nationally televised games or difficult road trips. The league fined him for it. Fans complained, but Popovich was playing the long game, and it worked. The Spurs won championships in 05, 07, and 2014 with the core players whose careers were extended remarkably. Popovich wasn't trying to change the league, he was trying to win championships, but in doing so, he planted a seed that would grow into a monster. This is the crucial point. For Popovich, load management was a targeted, strategic tool for a specific aging roster. It was about preserving Hall of Fame careers for a deep playoff run. The problem isn't the origin of the idea, it's the ripple effect it created. What started as a strategic exception soon became a league-wide standard, and the effects have been devastating. The most immediate and obvious casualty is competitiveness. When a star player sits, the product on the floor is diminished. A marquee matchup between two top teams become a lopsided affair that nobody's really interested in. The integrity of the 82-game season is compromised. Is the team that wins a championship the best team or simply the healthiest? Or the one that was the most strategically rested, we'll say. We're moving towards a regular season that feels less like a competition and more like a prolonged preseason before the playoffs. This leads directly to the second major issue, the betrayal of the fan, man. The lifeblood of the NBA is not its television contracts, but the passion of its supporters. That passion is built on a covenant. The ticket you buy is a promise that you will see the best athletes in the world compete at the highest level. Low management shatters that promise. The family that spends its hard-earned money, the kid who looked up to a player as a hero, they're left with an empty jersey on the bench. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's a fundamental breach of trust. And it's no coincidence that as load management has become more prevalent, we've seen hand wringing and over-declining regular season viewership. Fans are not stupid, man. They will not invest their time, money, and emotion in a product that doesn't respect them in return. Now, proponents will argue, and not without some merit, that the game is faster, the players are more athletic, and the season is a grind. Do I agree with that? We could definitely debate that. It's just because the footage ain't out there, man. There was definitely some monster athletes back in the day that a lot of y'all don't know about. They say load, but back to this. They say load management is a necessary response to player safety in general. But this argument ignores a critical counterpoint, the unparalleled resources today's players have at their disposal. We are in the golden age of sports science. Players have personal chefs, dedicated sleep coaches, advanced cryotherapy chambers, and hyper-specialized training regimens. They fly on private charters, stay in 5-star hotels, and have access to medical and training staffs that are light years ahead of what was available even 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. The legends of the past, the Michael Jordans, the Kobes, the Karl Malones, they played 82-game seasons on commercial flights, eating room service, and getting treatment with methods that would seem archaic today. Their bodies were their responsibility, and their competitiveness would not allow them to sit unless they were genuinely injured. Speaking of Michael Jordan, the GOAT, his recent comments on this issue cut to the core. He said, I'm paraphrasing right here, but he said, if I was sitting out a game, I'd be paying for all the tickets. He went on to say he wanted to play 82 games because he felt a responsibility to the fans who saved up to see him play maybe once a year. This isn't just nostalgic, back in my day type of rant. It's a statement about mentality and approach to the game. It's about an ethos of competition and accountability that seems to be fading. Jordan understood that his stature came with the responsibility to the game itself. When today's stars sit out for general soreness, they're not just resting their bodies, they're distancing themselves from the foundational responsibility. So where do we go from here? How do we combat this epidemic and restore the NBA to its former competitive glory? The solutions are not that simple, but they're clear. First, the league must take a stronger, unified stance. The recent player participation policy, with its rules about sitting stars for national TV games and multiple stars at once, is a good start, but it's not enough. The financial penalties need to be severe enough to be a genuine deterrent, not just a cost of doing business. Fines should escalate dramatically for repeat offenders, and there should be mechanisms that could even impact draft capital. Second, players need to take the initiative and be proactive and take it upon themselves to, I know they're making a whole bunch of money now, and guys are getting 50, 60 mil contracts just to go score 10, 15 a game. And you don't have to be that great to get a really huge payday anymore. So a lot of these guys, seemingly get complacent, and they're okay with just being good enough to keep making that money. But players need to take it upon themselves in the off season to train, and get their bodies in the elite, get their bodies in the best shape possible that they could possibly get in to prepare themselves for a dueling 82-game season, similar to how players used to do, like the Kobes and the Mikes and the Malones, and all of them got the AIs. You gotta prepare differently. You can't just do the bare minimum and think your body's gonna last throughout an 82-game season. And third, we need to reevaluate the incentive structure. The introduction of the in-season tournament was a brilliant move to inject meaning into the early regular season. We need more of that. Tie tangible, significant rewards to regular season performance. Perhaps home court advantage in the playoffs needs to be even more heavily weighted. Maybe there should be substantial bonus pools, not just for making the playoffs, but for high seeds. Make teams and players want to compete every single night, even though they should already want to do that just by putting that jersey on. But increase these incentives too. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, it's about the culture. It's about the league, the teams, the media, the fans collectively celebrating and rewarding the Ironmen, the players who suit up night in and night out. We need to shift the narrative away from he's smart for resting back to he is a warrior for playing through, a little ache or a little pain. This cultural shift has to start with the stars themselves, embracing the responsibility that comes with their superstar status. In conclusion, load management began as a smart, tactical innovation by a visionary coach, but it has morphed into a culture of caution that is eroding the very foundation of the NBA. Relentless competition and a sacred bond with the fans. We are at a crossroads. We can continue down this path where the regular season is a formality and fans are left guessing which stars will actually play, or we can take decisive action, increase the stakes, and foster a new era of accountability. The goal is not to return to a bygone era, but to build a future where the game's best players on the floor compete at the highest level night in and night out, because that is the NBA we fell in love with, and that is the NBA the fans deserve. Once again, it's your boy, Nicky P. You rocking with Eat, Sleep, Breathe, Hoops. And until the next one, peace.